self-guided one that comes to break the cross and kill the swine. Get rid of tyranny and oppression. If he's self-guided, that means he's independent of everyone else. That's God in person. In Christianity, he would call Christ. Or the Son of Man. But they say in Islam that when the Mahdi comes, Jesus will be with him. Now, how many Christians don't know that? When they think that we're against Christianity and Christianity is against Islam. No, the devil teaches that, Islam and Christianity are not one and the same. So in this kind of world, where this kind of deception is going on at the end of the devil's rule, the scripture says that before God's coming, there will be a falling away first. It says that day, Thessalonians, y'all all right? Yes, sir. That day shall not come unless there be a falling away first and the man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. That means the devil has to be revealed, and the devil is identified in the scripture as a man. Who told you he was a mystery? And if the devil is a man, then God gotta be a man, wouldn't you? I mean, mathematically, geometrically, wouldn't that make sense? That if the devil is a man, God gotta be a man. Because if we make God into a mystery, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that a mystery is unknown. If we make the devil into a mystery, then the devil is unknown. Just because he's unknown by the people doesn't mean he doesn't exist. And you can't teach what you don't know. And to believe in something you don't know makes you sound blind, deaf, and dumb. And people will swear by it. What am I getting at? When the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, on October 15th, pointed out his Jesus to the world.
I know where you're going.
He said, put up the picture of Jesus. And they put up that white figure. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And he said, now put up my Jesus. And they put up the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I know that was breathtaking. Hit a lot of emotion.
Yes, sir.
And to this very day, there are people that's upset about that.
That's right.
And ready to argue about that.
Yes,
And we ready to take on the challenge. Bring whatever argument you want to bring. But the question you have to ask yourself is, do I believe in Jesus? And if you say yes, tell me what he looked like. Am I waiting for Jesus? Yes. What does he look like?
How do you know?
And when he comes, what are you expecting?
Oh, yeah. How you gonna know?
Are you expecting that one of 2,000 years ago
Looking like that.
to come back? Who lives for 2,000 years in the same flesh, blood, and body? No one has ever come back like that. Is that right? But this is a lie that has been told. Is that right? So John, that's on the island of Patmos waiting for the word of the Lord. The word of the Lord is the word of God that he's waiting for. And what we are reading in the book of Revelation is really the testimony of John showing what's going to happen at the end of his rule. And the end of his rule is at the end of the 6,000-year period. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us, and most scholars and theologians will agree, that the devil's rule ended in 1914. We're in 2017. 103 years up from the devil's rule, and the 103rd surah of the Holy Quran is the time. And in the 103rd surah of the Holy Quran entitled The Time, it says this. Oh man. By the time, surely man is in loss. By the time. What time is God talking about? By the time of the end of the devil's rule and the resurrection and judgment of God establishing his kingdom, man is surely in loss. Except those who believe and do good and exhort one another to truth and exhort one another to patience. Those who believe in what?
Good question.
See, because at the end of the devil's rule, brothers and sisters, something's going to happen. Now, our subject matter, we're dealing with part 2 of separation or death. But you and I cannot separate if our brain is not founded with knowledge that will challenge the falsehood that has been given to us. Because the separation is mental before it becomes physical.
Come on, come on, come on.
Now let me pause and go back. John on the island of Patmos is the same person who's identified as Adam in Genesis. Y'all all right?
Yes, sir.
This is very necessary. For some of us, it's repetitive, but it's necessary.
Teach it. Teach it.
Because when Adam and Eve rebelled against God, Adam and Eve is representing the Adamic race of people. Say, nah, look, brothers and sisters, male and female made he, them, and called their name Adam.
That's right.
That's talking about a race of people. And that Adamic race of people started with the original people. When God, after giving them instructions, after breathing into Adam of his spirit, breathing into him wasn't mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, it wasn't CPR. I just want to be clear. God breathing into Adam is meaning he was teaching him of his mind, his will, his thought pattern. Adam did not know anything about wickedness because the God that raised him off of truth. But raised him and put him in a garden. The garden is not dealing with the botanical garden. The garden is dealing with the planet Earth, a certain section of the earth that he said is your territory. Of my paradise. And he said you can eat of everything in this garden. But that tree in the midst of the garden that has the knowledge of good and evil, don't eat from it. Adam only had the knowledge of good. He didn't know nothing about no evil.
That's right.
But it's natural for the psyche that when you tell somebody not to do something, they're curious about doing it. And that tree, which is a man that had the knowledge of good and evil, was the one that was rebelling against God. Because he now knew about the other side of God's nature, which was the negative side. It was the positive side of God that kept the negative in check. Y'all all right? Yes. It's like when we give rules and regulations to our children in the household, bringing them up of what not to do. And then our example to them is that we're doing the things that we're supposed to do, and everything we told them not to do, they never see us do because it's not existing in our household. But when they go outside and get in the midst of society with other children who may be influenced by the negative side, then it challenges their good. Is that right?
Yes,
and then eventually they may get influenced and test the negative side. And when they come home, a good mother or father will recognize it within no time. What are you doing with that? Where you learn that word from?
Come on now.
Since when you started eating that? Since when you started dressing like that? Who in this household you seen dressed like that? Well, who told you that?
Here you go.
Now here's Adam and Eve. Don't eat from that tree. And the snake, after God leaves, snake comes up to Eve. Why the snake ain't come to Adam?
Come on.
Now look at how the devil works in the midst of this. He tries to make us to believe that by the snake coming into Eve is showing the weakness of the woman. And by God being illustrated in the scriptures through the revision by King James, that the making of the woman was the man being put to sleep and a rib being taken from his body, and so the woman is crooked. Oh, no, I heard people in Islam say this crap. I'm glad, I love Minister Farrakhan. I'm glad he teaches us the right way to look at the woman and look at the man. Because this kind of crap, where you got even preachers that won't even let women come to the rostrum, but yet all of us came through the womb of a woman? What the hell is that? That ain't of God, brothers and sisters.
Come on.
But here it is. I just want to deal with this lie. The woman comes from the rib of the man. That's ugly. I mean, look. God gonna put us to sleep, Queen. Take a rib out of my body and then make a woman. God, really?
That's concoction.
That don't make, but see, it's metaphoric language.
Yes, it is.
And since the people are blind, deaf, and dumb, they're not going to know how to read underneath that.
Yes, sir.
Well, Brother Henry, how do you know? Because I met a man that met a man that met God. And I got, look, I ain't making this stuff up. But the point that I'm getting at with that is this. That woman came from the man, but not by way of his rib. The man that the woman comes from is the same man that the man comes from, which is God himself. See, now, the science is moved out of this. In biology, both of us, we're two halves of one whole. In the man is the X and the Y chromosome, and in the woman is the X. Is that right?
Yes.
And in mathematics, the X is what? Unknown.
That's right.
So in the book of the Bible, Samson is saying about Delilah to his enemy, if you had not plowed with my heifer, which is crude language, because we ain't calling y'all heifers, all right?
Not at all.
Now I know, in the rap world, they done made heifer like words of endearment, but I grew up under my mother. Heifer was not a good word to be calling a woman. Is that right? That's right, this is offensive. Even though it's a female cow, but you're going to call a sister a cow? This heifer. Oh, no, this heifer did. See, that don't even sound good, does it? Well, it's good. You use worse, thank you. You use worse terms today. But let me get to the point. He said, if you had not plowed with my heifer, you would not have discovered the secret to my riddle. The riddle is, who is God? And in the woman is the mystery of God. In the man is God in the X and the Y chromosome, but the X of the man is unknown until God gives it form and manifestation in the woman. So for the man to learn more about the other side of himself, he got to study his woman from God's eyes. And the woman got to study her man from God's eyes. And then both of them complement each other's nature. But how could you do that in a world where there's a devil that had a 6,000-year head start in deceiving us? So God says through Paul, how shall they know except they have a teacher? How shall they have a teacher except he's been sent? And Allah says in the Holy Quran, Allah raises up a messenger from every people and every nation speaking their language. Your Jesus and my Jesus will look like us. Your prophet, your messenger is going to come from among us. Otherwise, we would be able to say, I can't follow him because he hasn't been through what I've been through. He ain't go through welfare. He ain't been through slavery. No, God comes and raises up one right from among us from our condition. That so when we see one rising up from under the feet of us in the same condition, we can't got no excuse. Because if he can do it, I can do it. Is that right?
Yeah. Perfect example.
God he's a just God. He removes all excuses. So now in this separation, here's Adam and Eve in the garden, right? And God leaves them after giving them clear instructions. And the snake comes unto Eve. He only came to Eve in order to get to Adam. The snake knew, and it's not a real snake. It's a man. No, I gotta be clear. No, because some people today think that was a real snake. But you and I all know, we've lived long enough to know we got people in our lives that are snakes. Is that right? So this ain't talking about no man. It's talking about the characteristics of human beings that God don't even identify as human beings because they've fallen so low from God's thinking and way. Remember in the book of Isaiah, he says, my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are my ways your ways. This is another man talking about human beings. That when we are thinking according to the foundation of God's knowledge and we strive to live like that, we rise above the condition of our people and all people who are not in that realm. That's heavy. And the sign, the mark of a righteous person is humility. So no matter how far you grow in knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, we all have to stay humble because we can never rise above the condition of our people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We are taught you can't add 1 cubic inch to your height, nor can you step through the earth. So take your place in the ranks among your people. I don't give a darn if you President Barack Obama, for to be in the White House, sitting in that seat as the CEO over America Incorporated,
Right.
does not make him more than Trayvon Martin. That's a black man, and that was a black brother that was murdered. You cannot rise above the condition of that brother, no matter how successful you become in your personal life. No man is an island. And no woman is an island. Is that right? And when we understand ourselves like that, your personal success is all right, but don't think you bigger than your people. Don't think you better than your people. That you can't come back down into the hood or wherever your people is at and work among them. You know good and doggone well, we grew up on them syrup sandwiches. We grew up putting doggone ketchup in our doggone rice. Don't act like we don't know. Don't act like we don't know. Did I say something wrong? No, I had to go there. I'm a 60s child. Now, we had syrup sandwiches. And when there wasn't enough food in the house and it was just rice, we had rice with ketchup. Now, you may not have had that. Had mayonnaise sandwiches, fried bologna when we didn't know nothing about pork. Now we get knowledge and become bourgeois. And so our people that are still living like that, or maybe living something close to that, oh, ew, man, shut up. Get out of the mosque. No, because those kind of believers, we don't need you among us. God didn't raise us up from the junk pile of our condition, shine us up and put us on top for us to look down on the junk pile and act like if though we better than the junk pile. Hell no, we coming from out of that same junk. And that's why as Muslims under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you can't make us into no Arab. You can't make us follow Arab culture. We'll beat the hell out of you with this tongue of a two-edged sword if you try to make us into an Arab. They want to try to teach us Islam from what you got in the East. The East can't run nothing over here. I mean, some of us, we just so deaf, dumb, and blind. So, we're still dealing with separation. Or death. And so what I'm trying to show is that once that snake came to Eve, it only came to Eve because the snake was wise enough to know that if I go straight to Adam, he's going to square off for me. You know what square off means, right? You know, you come to me trying to tell me eat from that tree. When I know my God just told me, no, what's up? What's up? You trying to play me? You trying to play me? That's how men do. When a man steps to another man and trying to get him to go in the wrong direction, the man gonna square up. Man, please, bro. You trying to play me? So if a man steps to the woman and opposites attract, and he brings a subtle suggestion, and in the subtle suggestion, he's making evil fair seeming. You know how people say, well, you know, if you smoke cigarettes, you're gonna get cancer and die. And the person who likes to smoke, you know, now they feel that you're coming against them. Well, we're gonna die of something anyway. See, that's making evil fair seeming. Pork is no good for you. It'll kill you. That strychnine worm start getting all up into your spine and going up into the back of your brain, and your eyes start turning yellow, and you won't live. Man, my grandmother been eating pork all her life. She lived down south. She 103 years old. She can live to 140 if she wasn't eating pork. I ain't trying to hear that. See, we want to justify. Well, they told me if you cook it long enough, all the worms will die. See, who told you that? The same white man that raised our ancestors in slavery up on pork. Well, it's soul food. There ain't no soul food when we start dealing with soul. Soul is the essence of the human being. So you telling me that pork, that fat back, them collard greens, them candy yams, all that, them chitlins, all that is soul food? From the essence of the environment that shaped our hereditary. And the environment that shaped our hereditary was slavery. And in slavery, we slept with the chickens and we slept with the animals because we was treated as 3/5 of a human being. We ate this, we was fed the scraps of what the slave master has. Even though we cooked their food and fed them, they gave us the scraps. So if that's the environment that shaped us, you mean that's our soul? Hell no, I am not accepting that, because that was dictated by somebody that stole us. Where's our real soul at? And to find our real soul, we gotta find God. And we can't find God based off of what a slave master has taught our people and picked for us who would preach to us and told the preacher what to preach and what not to preach. No, brothers and sisters, this is a new day. This is a new day. We ain't going for that. And let me tell you something. If you ever study seminary school, what they teach in seminary school of the theology of God is not the same thing they teach in the church.
Explain it.
In seminary school, they know Christianity started in Rome through Constantine. Now, what makes the preacher go into the church and teach a different doctrine? That's all. See, look, this thing here is heavy because there's a lot of deception. And then those who know the truth that get into religion, they don't want to uproot the deception because they don't want to lose their place.
That's right.
So then that becomes, according to the scriptures, hirelings.
That's right.
You working for prosperity in your pocket for the benefit of yourself and your family. You're not working to transform lives. So sisters can come in church with dresses above their knees and low cleavage and sit in front of the preacher and he's teaching you